Everybody's muted.
All right. Should we dig in?
Let's do it.
You guys, we're so excited about this. Do you want to start? Why don't you start?
Okay. So do you want me just dive into my story then first?
Yeah. So what we thought would be helpful, there are so many people on the team now that Chelsea and I don't know everybody. So we thought it would be helpful for you to hear a little bit about us and just to hear some of our stories, because I think when we got started was a really unique time on the team and in doTERRA. And so I think it will be encouraging to you all just to hear a little bit of our story. We hope you can relate with some of the pieces of it. So Chelsea's going to start. Cassie,
do you have a little light? You can you're dark. You're very dark.
I know. I have it here, but it's too far away. I might, I'm going to let my phone charge and I'll see if I can put it on my phone. Maybe I'll log in on my phone or something.
Okay. So I got part of my story typed out and then the last half is just bullet points that I hope I remember. Okay. Well, again, thank you for coming. This is such a huge deal. And again, our passion is just to serve you guys. doTERRA is amazing. Their compensation plan is awesome. And this has served our families both health-wise and with financial peace, just nothing else has. I have my notes here. Just be gracious. Pardon me. So my name is Chelsea Kolich, and I've been with doTERRA since July 15th of 2014. So this summer I get to say that I've owned my own business for 4 years, which is just really cool. And my personal story is kind of a riot. My older sister, Angela Reed, she's all of our upline. Again, like I said, she's our diamond upline. We were just in a silly sister tiff. I don't even remember what it was about, but in the middle of it, she just stayed true and faithful to our relationship and our friendship. And she reached out to me about doTERRA. She had always known that just Derek and I were Derek's my husband. Derek and I were in a really hard place financially. And through some just foolish decisions in life, she reached out to me and word for word, no joke, this is what she said. She calls me, Chelsea, I think I found something where we can make a lot of money and I think you need to do it with me. And I think we can all agree that that's really awesome and really bold. And there's always a time and a place for that kind of stuff. And I just was like, okay, tell me what to do. And that response really wasn't very difficult for me after growing up with just a high amount of esteem for her. We live somewhat parallel lifestyles in regards to just living on a little farm. We have both home birthed our children, goals of homeschooling. She's just always ministered to me, always been a teacher of mine, so to speak. So we kind of joke that I signed up 10 minutes after her, but it was really about 4 days later. I think she signed up with Shay July 11th of that same week. So it was just kind of the blind leading the blind. We had no clue there were kits. I enrolled with the basic $35 membership, and I think Shay had only been involved since March of that year, so just a few months as well. So that $35 was a huge stretch for our household financially. It was literally start a business or go on food stamps. That's kind of what it came down to. So we robbed Peter to pay doTERRA, and we used the money that we had budgeted for the oil change for our vehicle. And in adding the tax and shipping, which made it the $35 order $42, was oh my goodness. It was just crazy. It was such a big deal. And I think, if any of you can relate, then, I'm here with you, So that was just kind of nothing short of a panic attack. And at that point, I just still wasn't really mindful of the business, but I know I wanted to try some oils because I had just used casual oils from the health food store and everything. My first order was Slim and Sassy, lemon, and coriander. Weird order. That was $63. That was a huge stretch. And when I got my oils, now I'm to the bullet points that I need to remember. When I got my oils, I started listening to just YouTube videos. I just kind of was self-motivated and just dove right in. Still, again, no real mind of got to get into the business side of it. I just I was just doing my thing. So at the end of all those YouTube videos, the ladies were at the end of all their sales conversations, the ladies were doing their close. And little old me didn't know what a close was at that time. I mean, I had waitressed and all that. But it dawned on me, holy smokes, they're closing these people. They're making money. And that's kind of what did it for me. And I started sharing with Cassie and just dabbling on Facebook a little bit. And I was getting some interest. So I enrolled a couple people My first check was $13 and like 80 something cents or $13.50. And like, that's what did it for me. I just needed to like see that it worked. I was the last person who'd ever do something like this. I rolled my eyes at my girlfriends if in high school, if they were like, do you want to come to my mom's Leah Sophia party? I was like, no, I don't. I have better things to do with my time. So I shared with Cassie and her friend Rochelle that summer. They enrolled. They were really excited. I told my husband, you know, I think this is something I want to learn more about, and it's going to cost me about $100 a month. And Derek's words were, again, verbatim, all right, well, as long as you can make it back. And I did. I educated myself, and I decided to really dive in November 1st of that year. I had my first class, and I had 100% close. And I just kept having classes that month. Cassie joined. She had a big class at the end of that month. And I was able to make $600 in my first month with doTERRA. And my goal was just to pay for my oil. So I bumped up that goal to pay for our rent. And then I just started to dream a little bigger and a little bigger and a little bigger and just climb higher on the ladder on the rungs on the ladder, you know. So currently we are gold and platinum-ish with doTERRA. We're solid golds. And we were able to hit Elite in 30 days. Elite is where you have $3,000 in sales. So November 1st to November 30th, we went Elite. Angela called me one day, hey, I've got a little bonus for you if you think you can hit executive. And I was looking at numbers and understanding all of that. I'm like, yo, I actually think I can hit Elite. I don't even know what that rank is, but I think I can get to 3,000. We never looked back. I hit Premier in December. Premier was where you have 2 executives under you. And I hit Silver in January. We were able to go Silver in 90 days, and we never looked back. We did hit Gold once, and typically not the people who sign up with you at the beginning aren't always the people who end up with you. And it's a beautiful refining process as you're building your business, and it helps you grow as a person. Things can happen. Sometimes things happen to people, things don't. I just have kind of a different story. But our team is restored. We have 3 amazing leaders now, and we worked our way back up to gold. And when we have really big promotional months, we can bring in about $6,000. And when we're not on promotional months and we're still just kind of running our business and filling in gaps and nurturing our teams, we make anywhere from about $4,000 to $5,000 a month. And I just needed to see that $13 check was real and that it worked. And we're just going to keep going because we have big dreams, and this has been really fruitful and healthy. And it's grown me as a person. I kind of make a joke with my leaders that you kind of don't come out of this alive. You get changed as a person. So that's my story, and we're very grateful for all of you. And we are here to serve you and put you on that same track.
Woohoo! All right, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about our family first. I live in Dundee, Illinois, with my husband Alex. And we have 4 kids. Our oldest is 10, and our youngest just turned 11 months. You heard Chelsea talk about a little bit how I got involved with her. So we had gone to high school together, and in July of 2014, I don't know how we connected, somehow on Facebook. And she was like, yeah, we have this farm and there's chickens and eggs. And I was like, I want farm fresh eggs. So we went over to their farm, and our kids played together, and she had like just gotten her oils, I think, at that point. So she had the little box. I don't know, you had maybe like a handful of oils, and you're like, yeah, check these out. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah. And I just kind of like put it on the back burner. Meanwhile, my grandma had been having some serious health issues, and my parents are self-employed, so we never had insurance. So when we got sick, it was like, we don't go to the doctor unless it's like life or death, basically. So just so you understand like a little bit of the background, by mid-October, or probably beginning of October, my grandma had ended up in the hospital several times. She was seeing several different specialists that probably were not cross-checking her medications, and it was just awful. So with that, and with knowing that I just really wanted to provide like an organic, healthy lifestyle for my family, but I just felt like at that point, we couldn't afford it. Like I could not afford to buy organic food, so I felt kind of stuck. I couldn't afford to buy organic cleaners and all that. So through kind of my grandma being in the hospital was like the straw that broke the camel's back, as they say. And Chelsea had been posting about oils online, and I finally was like, you know what, we need to do this. So my mom and I went in on a family essentials kit. And that was mid-October when I enrolled. By the end of October, I was like, these oils are awesome. They work for everything.
Bella.
No one ever told me about these before. And I actually, without even asking Chelsea how, I set up my own LRP. Hey, Loretta. Hey, Loretta and Tina, can you guys, oh, you muted yourself. Tina, can you mute yourself too when you get a sec?
Lisa, if you can mute yourself too, that'd be great.
Sorry. I don't know that I know how.
Bottom left-hand corner, if you just kind of hover over it, there's a little mute and audio button, or a mute and camera button. I'm trying to click it here too. I just don't think it's working for me.
Okay, I'm going to keep going.
Okay.
So by the end of October, I had set up my own LRP to order more oils. I was like, I can get free stuff for ordering these? Like, yes, I'm going to. If I'm going to order them anyway, I'm going to get the free points. So my husband was not as receptive as Chelsea's right away. I think he was like, oh, it's just another something that you're going to spend money on. And he wasn't convinced in the beginning that oils were going to work. Okay. Let's just put that out there. But I was excited. So after that, Chelsea continued to approach me because I was making sugar scrubs and I'm like a DIY fail person. So I was sharing that on Facebook and Chelsea's like, you're basically already working for the company. You're just not making a paycheck. And I was like, I don't know. So my husband, Alex, and I, before we had even gotten married, we were involved with a different network marketing company. So there were lots of good things we learned from that, but we honestly invested so much money and we did not see a return on our investment at all. So I was very wary of network marketing from that standpoint, but at the same time, I was keeping my options open and continually looking for like, what is a way that I can bring income in for my family without like having a full-time job. My husband and I, neither of us finished college, so it's not like we could just go out and like get a job. A lot of them require degrees these days that would pay enough money to cover childcare and have extra income, right? Are you moms out there that understand this dilemma? So our biggest paycheck in that previous company may have been like $100, okay? And the month that we got the $100 check, we had invested well over $800. So you can see how this was like a trap. It was not getting us anywhere. So I was hesitant and Chelsea asked me several times. And finally she said, well, why don't you just host a class? And I agreed. And she sent me this video by Teresa Harding, who talked about how to close a class. And that was one of the things that hooked me because it wasn't the way that I knew network marketing to be. And it was really attractive to me. So the reasons that I considered it, the products were obviously working for us. Teresa Harding, I loved her training. The compensation plan, when I looked at it, I realized that doTERRA's compensation plan is designed ingeniously for anybody getting started. It has ways for you to create sustainable, long-term, stable income. It has ways for the brand new person to immediately make back their money on their investment. And it has bonuses along the way so that you're constantly able to control your income. Like we always hear that, right? Network marketing companies always say, oh, you're your own boss and it's up to you to make your own income. But there's a lot of different pieces that go into that. And doTERRA's income compensation plan actually is true to that. So it was really very attractive to me. And then Chelsea came and taught my first class. So my first class was the end of November, like the very last day of November 2014. And she came and taught. We had 100% close. There were 10 people in the room. Every single person bought a kit. So she sat down with me and all of our enrollment sheets. And she said, okay, so if you do decide to build, you're going to make $150 tonight. And I was like, sign me up. Like, I'm not going to let you have that money. I want that money. So it was like this perfect storm of circumstances where I realized there actually might be something to this business. Like I never made that kind of money in the other business. We were around for like 5 years and you just heard that we just didn't have a return on our investment. So I was impressed. My second class, I taught myself. Chelsea came and just kind of supported me and same thing. We had like 100% close. I think Jenny, my builder Jenny, I think you were at my second class, right? Yeah. And I think you bought like a retail, like one roller. You weren't quite ready yet, but everybody else, we had 8 or 9 people there. Everyone else enrolled with a kit. So it was like the same thing. I'm like, this is awesome. So I was just super, super excited. My builder, Rochelle, was at that first class. So she's been with me pretty much from the beginning. And it was really exciting. So at the time, I was working at a restaurant. I was a server and I was training people. I also was just starting in a pastoral leadership role at my church. And then I had doTERRA. So I was kind of working like 3 different jobs that allowed me to have a pretty good amount of freedom with my time. In February 2015, we had probably what can only be described marital crisis. This kind of put a halt on like everything else we were doing. I was really honest with Chelsea and just said, you know, I think I need to just fix my marriage right now. And so I was really bummed because I was so excited about this business, but I knew that I had to just like pause for a minute and take care of my family. And so we did do that. But still, with all of that going on, in March of 2015, I hit silver for the first time. So from the very end of November, basically, that doesn't really count as a month. So if you count December, January, February, March, hit silver in 4 months, even with a marital crisis going on. Through that time, I still stayed in contact with Chelsea. I still stayed in contact with my builders and mentored them, but I was not enrolling like I wanted to be and like I knew I should be to grow my business. So we were pretty steady at Premier throughout that whole time. And then one of the light bulbs that came on for me, not enrolling like I should be, but I'm making money. Every month I still had money coming in. And that was the first time that I had experienced true residual income. It was probably only like $100, something like that a month, maybe 300 on a really good month. But that was huge for us. So I was really sticking with it. And then by November, I kind of was feeling like I'm trying to do too many things and I need to figure out what I'm really dedicated to. So I was praying about it and I really felt like I needed to just quit the job at the restaurant and focus a lot of my energy on doTERRA. I did that and so that was about November, and then by February or March of 2016, I hit silver again and hit my 250 bonus, and I have never fallen back since then from silver. July 2016, I started working full-time, so then I kind of had to figure out how do I do doTERRA with a full-time job. May 2017, we had our 4th baby. And then just this past November 2017, we hit gold for the first time. So we're like I said, we're a solid silver 250 bonus every month. And that averages about $1,600 a month. And there are months that we've made about $2,000. So that's pretty significant for our family. My husband is planning to come home from his job in May because he works at a casino and it's just not a nice environment. He doesn't want to have people throwing cards at him all day long anymore. So we're excited and we're really thankful for doTERRA and for all of you on the team.
Good deal.
Awesome.
That is that.
Kathy was like really gracious while I was pursuing her because I just knew that she'd be really good at it, and I called her a fireball. And I have probably told a couple of you this, and like I just told her, like, while you're in your business, look for a you, like you're doing all the right things, you know. And that was just really gratifying to say. And I don't remember if there's anything else I wanted to say with that, but I think I'm good. Cassie?
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about we'll jump in a little bit more to the technical side, I guess. Technical? I don't know.
Like types of builders. Do you want to go into that?
Yes. All right. Okay. So I have the graphic pulled up. Do you want me to screen share?
That would be awesome.
All right.
It's a training. I think I better watch it while I can because I know our 5-year-old will be back here.
All right, let's get that. Scotty, do you know how to mute yourself in the bottom left-hand corner?
Thank you. Sorry.
Oh no, don't be sorry at all. Okay, there you go. Okay, so in doTERRA, we kind of say there's 3 pathways, and And basically what we find is that everybody starts with that goal of wanting to pay for their oils. I'll sit down and I'll work with someone and I'll say, you know, I can hear what you're saying. It sounds like you have really big goals. And what do you say to just, we start with getting your oils paid for? Because I want them to like experience the belief that I got to experience of just getting my products paid for and what happened right away. Like with Cassie's class, that 150, that just covered her LRP with more months to come of income. So these are, we call these like the love levels of doTERRA, and there's been a lot of different ways to describe it, but this has been the most like appealing to me and relatable. So I really love talking about this graphic. So you have the oil lover. These are probably people who guys are enrolling and getting on LRP. They join to receive an essential oil kit for a 25% discount with no intention of growing a business. You know, they're on LRP, or they might not be. Maybe they're doing one-time orders, whatever works for their family. The dabbler joins and stays excited while placing their orders as needed, shares their love for doTERRA with family and close friends, and they love earning rewards on all of their purchases. The part-timer joins to have a second income while sharing the love with family, new and old friends and coworkers. The part-timer is often seen venturing outside of their comfort zone, spreads their passion for the products while earning commissions and bonuses. And the earth mover, I'm totally full on 150,000% an earth mover, joins with plans to grow a business and seizes all opportunities, loves sharing the products, seeing lives change and helping others grow their own business, maintains consistent sales and forward motion, earns a steady income and becomes their own boss. So we, through kind of no fault of our own in our house, just like kind of took a little journey of becoming an oil lover and then a dabbler and then a part-timer and then an earth mover. But the whole time I had goals to do something really big with it. And this was long before I knew any of this terminology, but you kind of all have to start in the same place, no matter what you're doing. And there's going to be a lot of freedom in your story. And we're going to talk a little bit about that and just determining like, if this is, you know, a hobby for you or if this is a business for you, and we want to help you break that down. Do you have any thoughts on that, Cassie? Oh, you're muted.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
I've barely eaten today, guys. I'm sorry. So I'm trying to eat like when I'm not talking. Okay, so the only thing I would say about that is if you need help figuring out which one you are, it's really helpful for you to identify with one of those and to share that with your upline. Just because we as upline mentors want to help you as much as we can. But if you're like a sharer, or let me look at the graphic again. If you're a dabbler, if we coach you as if you're an earth mover, that's just going to be a bad situation. We don't want to coach you, or even if it's the other way around. If you're an earth mover and we're like, okay, treating you like a dabbler and like not giving you what you need to succeed, that's not helpful for you. So we want to be able to coach you to what is most beneficial to you. So we'll try to kind of pepper that through our conversation today and just help you figure out like which one of those you are. And we'd love for after this meeting, if you can share that with your upline so that you can both be on the same page. It's really helpful.
Definitely. So oftentimes like a sharer can become a builder. So you might see somebody who like with Cassie, when I was saying, you know, she's on LRP, sharing the oil, she's making these things. Gosh darn it. I need to just like talk to this girl because I feel like I'm doing her a disservice. She could be making money. So that's why I went to her and just said, A, B, and C, love ya. You know, you're kind of already working for doTERRA. You know, what do you think of that? There's going to be some formal ways that we ask about the business. And then you might just have these times where like my sister, where you just seize the opportunity. And like I said, we kind of all start off in the same place. So a dabbler, you know, might become a sharer as they're growing. They see the opportunity. They're having a better understanding of the compensation plan. And you just see them sprout through the mentoring and through what they're feeding themselves, you know, through YouTube videos and training. And they kind of blossom into a builder with how you're mentoring them and just everything that's happening around them. And then we wanted to talk a little bit about, you want to talk a little bit about like the hobby part of it?
Yeah. So I was talking to somebody recently and I realized that sometimes okay, most of us start out with doTERRA because we love the oils and we want to help the people that we love to also love the oils. So it doesn't feel like a job because we enjoy it so much. So one of the filters that I was realizing is to help you determine like if you're treating doTERRA like a hobby or if it's more of a hobby for you than it is a business. One of the filters you can kind of ask yourself is, am I investing a lot of money without really expecting a return? Or am I, every time I purchase something for my business, am I putting it through a list of questions or criteria that help me determine if it's a wise choice for me to invest? So does that make sense to everybody? It's kind of like if you thought about scrapbooking as a hobby, right? If you spend money, lots of money, to have scrapbooking as a hobby, right? You have to buy your book and all the paper and the stickers and all the cry-cut stuff. And you spend a lot of time doing that. And at the end, you have like an emotional return on your investment. You feel like, I accomplished something, and maybe you gift it to someone and you feel really good about that, but it's not a business for you. Whereas if you think about it as a business, you might think, I have kind of a set of criteria I'll walk through in a little bit, but you are going to be thinking about it differently, and you're going to be pricing everything out, and you're going to be looking at how much is this project going to cost me before I sell it to someone. So I'll give that a little bit more feet in a little bit, but Chelsea, do you want to talk about the time decisions, making wise time decisions?
Yes. So do you mind if I just kind of preface it like with how I roll and just some instances where I'm like, hey, that was efficient of me as a mom, you know? So I think that it's so easy in this business to say like, to let the time part be such a burden. Like, when would I get this done? I get a lot of people, well, how many hours a week do you spend on this? And I will be honest, like, I just don't think that's a question I can answer, because just like when I started my business, I just didn't think about that kind of stuff. I just kind of made the decision that this is who I am and this is what I'm doing. So it just started to flow into my life. So I've had instances where we were getting ready to go to Florida. Half of our kitchen table was all of our stuff that needed to be packed, and the other half was my box set up, and I just knew I could squeeze in 45 minutes to get a one-on-one in. I've stood there at the kitchen sink doing dishes while I've done an appointment with somebody video chatting, just saying, hey, like, I'm real, I'm a mom, and I got to get this done right now. We're going out of town. I have had other instances like tonight with my builder, Lisa, like, hey, I'm going to straighten my hair and answer your questions. So we're Marco Poloing while I'm running the straightener through my hair. So if I could just encourage you that instead of saying like, I don't have time, just say, I'm just going to decide that this is what I'm doing, and this is going to be a part of my life. So just intertwine it where you can. So we like to talk a lot about just like income producing activities versus non-income producing activities. And I know that when you kind of first join the business, it's fun to peruse your back office and see what's happening on Facebook and everything. But we kind of encourage you guys just to get out there and just start talking about the oils right away. And we're going to be kind of going into later about booking appointments and ways to kind of get that rolling for you. But it's really easy to kind of get like sucked into like aroma tools and oil life, and I think I need this and I think I need that. And our desire with these meetings is to just condense all of this and keep it very simple for you, and just keep you on one track that you are in this to help people and bless your family. And there's these little things along the way that are okay, but they're not always necessary. You guys are all on mute. I guess I can't ask if that makes sense. But so when I'm running my business, I just focus on selling 10 oils. I do little things here and there on the side to generate some things, and there's promos that come along that I'm very active in. But my focus with doTERRA is selling 10 oils and being a rock star at doing it, and doing it in my sleep and doing it with my eyes closed. And I just kind of intertwine that however I can. If there's a training I want to listen to, I've got my earbuds in, I'm doing it, I'm listening at the kitchen sink, or I'm listening while I'm rocking my baby, or I'm listening. We live out in the country. We live really far from everybody. So it takes me an hour to get out to Lake in the Hills and go to Costco. I'm like, all right, well, this is a good opportunity for a podcast or listening to something that's going to be beneficial. So I am kind of the person where it's like, you know what? what can I do to maximize what is happening right now, you know, and try not to get overwhelmed with tomorrow, or like even with weight loss, you just say, take it one meal at a time. So just take this one step at a time and ask yourself, how can I maximize this right now? And sometimes people don't think like, oh, duh, I could just listen in my car and do this and do that. We might recommend different webinars and stuff for you, and you might feel like a burden of, oh, I got to sit and watch it. No, just listen to it. You don't have to sit down. Just keep going about your day and just intertwine doTERRA and allow it to be part of who you are. Cassie, what are your thoughts? I feel like you will be better with the details of the actual income versus non-income.
So let me see if I can pull this up, because I did find the graphic that I liked before.
Oh, is that Danelle's graphic?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I don't have that one.
Okay. I had to search for it. So this is from an old team call. Okay.
Cool.
So this, I'll share this on the Facebook page when the call's over, so you don't have to worry about trying to take all the notes. But this was convicting for me when I first saw it, because to be honest, I was doing a lot of things in the helpful but not necessary category. So things that might be helpful but not necessary is perusing Facebook for long periods of time, checking your back office over and over. I think I would like look at my back office and expect to see things there that like new things there, even though nothing new was going on my team, if that makes sense, because I was excited. So that gave me some great understanding of our back office, but it wasn't producing income for our family. So basically, if you want to break it down to like the top few categories, if you're getting oils in front of people, if you're booking appointments, if you're doing appointments, teaching classes, and helping people understand their oils and get on LRP, those are the things that are going to produce income for you. The other things that are strategic and structuring and compensation, those are things your upline can help you with as needed, because you're not going to need to know all the ins and outs of the compensation plan right from the get-go. Some people might like to know it. I did. It was helpful for me as I was deciding how to place people in my business, but it's not necessary to create income. That's probably all I've got for that.
Awesome. Yeah, that graphic is really, really, really helpful. So again, we want to bring freedom to you with this and keep it simplified. And believe it or not, like those things will keep it simplified as opposed to letting, you know, your mind wander and perusing that kind of stuff. Where do you think we should head to next? A little outline here.
Do you want to talk about like the balance versus imbalance idea? Or do you want me to talk about that?
I feel kind of silly. I'm drawing a blank.
Okay. So one of the things that I heard again recently, you guys, I don't know. I'm just like a hard head. Someone has to tell me something like 5 times before I'm like, okay, I'm convinced. So I've heard this over and over that from different people, okay? People that run business organizations like in the marketplace, church leaders, and then doTERRA leaders, like our Blue Diamond, Presidential Diamond leaders I've heard them all say, balance is non-existent. So if you're looking for balance and a way that doTERRA will fit in your life that feels like comfortable, you're probably not going to find it. So I'm sorry to break it to you. But what's really good about that is if you do feel a little bit out of balance, that probably means you're growing. And there are ways Chelsea and I both really care about all of you guys as people and as wives and moms. And we want you to know that we value your family and we understand when you need to put your family first. But there are ways to do both your business and honor your family. And kind of what that looks like is if you know a BOGO week is coming, it's like, okay, get all the laundry done the weekend before. Make sure, communicate with your husband. Prep some meals ahead of time so you guys aren't grabbing like McDonald's every single night. Mm-hmm. Communicate even with your kids. Maybe make sure that the week before or the week after you have like a couple days that you can unplug and like really just have face-to-face time with your kids where they know they have your undivided attention so that they're not feeling just blown by. Because I'll admit to you that in the beginning, I definitely was that mom that was like, busy, busy, busy. I have a workaholic tendency if I'm not careful. So Alex and I have a scheduled date night every night that we do eyeball to eyeball. And like, this is our time and we protect it. And even though there's not technically anything on our calendar, we don't schedule anything during that time. So there are ways around that. And if you're feeling like this is imbalanced and I need help, like my marriage is suffering, that's not okay. We want to help you like fix that and help you kind of manage that, because you can do both. You just have to kind of like come at it from the front end as opposed to like trying to fix it on the back end. Because I've tried to fix it on the back end. It doesn't work as well as if you come at it from, just planning. So BOGO weeks are a great time. If you know you're going to be going for a rank, Alex and I will usually sit down and I'll let him know like, hey, I think we could hit gold this month, or I think we can hit this new bonus this month. And he'll say, okay, great. What do we need to do? And then we're on the same page and we just communicate really well about our schedules so that there's no miscommunication. Chelsea, anything you would add to that?
Yes. So thank you so much for that. And I've been like sitting here writing down some thoughts as you're talking. BOGOs are these buy one, get one deals. They happen about 3 times a year and they can be upwards of almost a week long, and it's daily things. And kind of with what we were saying before about your story changing, I loved how Cassie said, like, you're probably not going to find it. So the best thing that you can do as you're growing your business, allow your family's story to change as your story changes too. Your husband's story is going to change as you're going with this. Your kids' understanding and love for the oils and being a part of what their mom does is going to grow and change as well. I have little ones. I've always brought Ivy with me on appointments. You guys have seen that all over Facebook. She does vendor fairs with me. Girlfriend knows how to tell people all about peppermint, and it's just adorable. But so that's why we say that doTERRA is, I absolutely love the developing. Yes, it is. As much as you want the income and as much as you want to serve everyone around you, this is going to be self-development and self-growth. I'm not the same person I was 4 years ago. And my mom has always told me something that's been just always rung or rang so true in my heart. No one ever arrives. So if as you're starting this, you have like this picture of what everything should be and what it's going to be, just allow your story to change, and you'll kind of just come into who you are and how you do things. I'm in doTERRA for 4 years. I've been in doTERRA for almost 4 years. I'm like just now to the point where I'm up at 5 a.m. I've got this little schedule of things I do. I kind of know when I want to touch the business during the day and when I can. I've allowed my daughter's story to change. She's going to be 6 years old. We're homeschooling, and that looked all foggy to me because it was a huge venture just like doTERRA was. So I would just give you the best advice that no one ever, not the best advice. I'm just going to give you sorry, that sounded crazy. I want to give you advice that no one ever arrives, and just work together on this. But yes, for things like big promos or BOGO weeks, Cassie, kind of like, I think we both can agree that when we were first in the business, we were like, what's this BOGO thing? Like, I couldn't even afford to buy the BOGOs when I first started, and I didn't care, and I didn't understand what they were. But I don't look back on that with regret. I look back at that's just part of my story, and it's okay. And now I have the knowledge to help like new builders advise on that and just use what I'm doing as they're learning. So give yourself time, be patient with yourself. And again, even with your business, how can I maximize like a fear that I'm feeling or like a self-defeat that I'm feeling? How can I just like speak against that or just come over that? Because this whole thing really is a beautiful process, and none of it is going to be a right now kind of thing, except for those power threes and except for those fast starts.
Yeah. So that's actually a good segue. I wanted to talk a little bit about making wise decisions with your money, because as you heard in the previous business we were in, we like way over invested and did not get a return on that investment. And it really put our family in like the hole financially. Alex had to work like 3 jobs to help us climb out of that hole. It was awful. So I'm really passionate about helping people understand what to invest in and when. Now, some of you might be coming into this business in a better position than like Chelsea and I were financially when we started. I totally relate with the $100 a month. Like I told you how Alex responded. He's like, it sounds like just another way for us to spend $100. Like it was a stretch for us to do that. But it's one of those things where it's like when you just make the decision, you figure out how to make it happen. So I've always been really sensitive and kind of assumed that builders don't have a whole lot of money to invest up front. I want to make it, you can make it work on a shoestring budget, basically. I went from 0 to silver and stayed premier with only investing in my LRP every month, printing handouts, and business cards. That is all I spent money on. And maybe some mason jars. That was what I did as a creative like gift for people with purchase, because I couldn't afford to buy a diffuser off of Amazon. So I just wanted to share a few tips with you on how to like filter through those wise decisions, or what might be a wise decision and what might not be, so that if you are in that position, you can, I don't know, I just hope this is helpful for you. So first of all, you know your LRP is 100 PV every month, that you have to do that to get paid. doTERRA requires that in order to send you a commission. So if that's a stretch for you, just budget for it. You know, it's $100, the average LRP. Chelsea and I were talking about it. It's probably like, what, $115 with
I think like
tax.
the $3.99 shipping, like $110 even. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's good. So, so if you know that that's what the amount is, just think that's about like $30 a week that we need to kind of set aside and budget for our LRP.
Can I check really quick?
Yeah. Did you want to talk about the switching your buying thing?
Oh, I was going to just jump on really quick, like what it cost me in gas to get to work, like even just whole expenses to help. When I first started with doTERRA, I was also working at the YMCA with my daughter in Lake Geneva. We just would hang out in the daycare while the moms went and worked out, watch the kids. Like a 27-minute drive from our house, and I would go a few times a week. I needed about $80 a month in gas to get there. Mm-hmm. You know, so that's $30 off from the 110. So, and my heart is not to be like condescending when we talk about like, you know, buying Starbucks and all this kind of stuff, but any job costs you money. And if you're somebody who likes to research, you can look at other companies and their investments. Certain skincare companies, the buy-in is like $700. Mm-hmm. I've got girlfriends that do it. They've been doing it since last fall. They've made $20 and they're preaching like, this is great. I'm like, oh, you know, so every job is going to cost you money, and I needed gas to get to work, you know? And our heart is to help you guys not have this be frivolity. We want to just help you. Oh, you're talking about the switch. Can I mention the switch?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, we just want to help you. Sorry. We just want to help you just flip flop it. Like we will talk about with LRP, you know, the loyalty rewards program. For those of you who are newer, we might have some really new people here. We use a lot of acronyms, but we'll help you along the way. You know, it's money you're spending anyway. Shampoo, skincare, toothpaste. I was buying, you know, a little more expensive toothpaste at the store because I wanted a better brand. So we are very committed to helping you not feel like this is a burden, and just helping you see that perspective of you need gas to get to work. You're going to get your points back, and 100 points a month for your business is not very much. It's really not. And even us, my husband and Faith, he just said, okay, as long as you can make it back. And we just switched our Target and Walmart routine to doTERRA and got healthier.
So I love that, because the previous business we were in, one of the things that really made sense to me was they always said, why would you buy from another company when you can buy from your own business? Like, this other company isn't doing anything for your family except providing this product, and your business provides the same product. So it just makes sense to buy from your own business. You know, it's like if, I don't know, what's a good example? If like you owned a Jewel and you went shopping at Walmart, like that doesn't make sense, right? So anyway, okay, so I wanted to go through a couple quick things that I did in the beginning when we were on such a tight budget. So tips for a tight budget. When you're doing your LRP, do purchase things that are dollar for dollar, like 1-to-1 PV to dollar ratio. So, you know, like a diffuser is $47 and only 20 PV. You guys, I didn't have a diffuser for like the first year I was building a business, because I was like, can't afford it. I can't afford to buy things on my LRP that do not have a PV value. Now, there's also like the perspective, you do have to invest in your business, and a diffuser is kind of smart to have for classes and stuff. So I'm not really sure how I got away with that. We do recommend that you, for like a year, I didn't have a diffuser. Yes, for real. I don't know how I got away with that. You guys, I'm telling you, remember how I said it takes like 5 times for me to believe something? I was like, yes, oils work topically and I'll try them internally. That aromatic thing, that's just namby-pamby. Like, I didn't really think it worked, you guys. Isn't that funny?
Oh my goodness. Well, and I had asked you about the business like 13 times, so I'm a little hard-headed.
Yes, I am hard-headed. At least I can admit it, right? And own it. Okay. So anyways, please get a diffuser. But if you're like really on a tight budget, get the things that are dollar 1-to-1 ratio, because that's going to help you qualify your 100 points without spending a whole lot of extra money.
Can I take an advanced sidestep really quick?
Yeah.
Just because we're on the subject. If there's anybody that is like in it and you're doing appointments and stuff, and maybe you feel a little choked up by that Home Essentials kit, just only because we're on the subject, let me just tell you what I say about diffusers. I say that they take the guesswork out of using the oils. So like becoming a mom or getting a new job, there's a bit of a learning curve. Just pop that On Guard in there and it'll do the work for you. I'm telling you, you're going to get your husband to sleep through the night. Just throw that Breathe in there. And they're great with pets. They're great with children. And you will be so relieved that you have it as a support line. Well, that's how I describe the diffuser. If any of you are just like, yeah, how do I love that Home Essentials kit and I know it has value, but I don't know what to say. So that, again, advanced sidestep, because we'll talk about kits later, but I just wanted to do it because we're on the subject.
Thank you. And we'll talk, I think one of the things we want to talk about too is troubleshooting, like when you're trying to close. You know, sometimes people have questions and you're like, I don't know what to say. So we want to help you like kind of troubleshoot those type of situations too. The second thing is use your points to purchase incentives. So when you're on LRP, obviously you're racking up points. Now in the beginning, if you're still like at the 10 or 15% level, it's going to take a little bit for you to get some points back, but you can either use your LRP to buy incentives for people, or you can use whatever points you have on LRP to buy incentives for your customers. The third thing that kind of goes along with that is don't provide incentives unless they're needed. So simply because I could not afford to buy additional gifts for people with purchase in the beginning, I didn't really offer them. I just learned how to communicate the value of what they were purchasing. So if you can get that right, you shouldn't need to like throw a bunch of bells and whistles on top of something. The other thing that I've noticed is, again, because so many of us just love people and want to help people, sometimes we're just like, oh, I want to give you this, I want to give you this, but then we're like giving away the bank. And we don't want you to give away the bank and then look back at your house and be like, oh shoot, now I don't have money for groceries, or now I'm out of peppermint for my own family and like my kid got sick and, you know, needs peppermint or something like that. So, so don't give away the bank. Trust your gut when you're in a conversation with people, because when you're doing those closing conversations or the appointments, you might hear hesitation in someone's voice. And like Tasha talks about in the Emerge scripts, you can say, well, which one of these, you know, looks better for you, and offer, well, if you purchase that one today, I'll give you fill in the blank. And don't be afraid to offer whatever you can afford. If it's something, you know, like I said, I just made homemade sugar scrubs for people in the beginning and people loved them. They loved them. So don't feel embarrassed if you have to do something small or you're not giving away a whole bunch of stuff. You really don't need to succeed in the beginning. Be creative about gifts is another thing I kind of already talked about. And then we also recommend you don't do make and takes until you're about at Premier or above, just because there's so much cost affiliated with a make and take. Now, we'll talk about this in a different session, but our team does what we call Product of the Month classes. And those are classes where everybody on the team participates. And that's a great way to do kind of a continuing education for your customers, to keep them engaged, to pull your LRP volume up, and to keep costs down. And we do a make and take there as a customer appreciation, but we have parameters on it. So like when Jenny and I host a make and or a Product of the Month class, we say, if you're already a current customer, you can make this for free. If they bring a friend who's not yet enrolled, we say, sure, you can pay $5, or if you enroll tonight with a kit, you can make this for free. So there's ways to work it into your business where you are, just make sure that you're making your money back on whatever you're spending. I hope that makes sense. And then, okay, so here's the question. So anytime you purchase something, now again, I want to just be sensitive to the fact that some of you may not have this problem. Like maybe you have a lot of money, like extra money, I mean, that like it's not a big deal to you to spend $100 on, you know, additional educational products or incentives for your customers every month. So I'm not really talking to that group right now. I'm talking to the group of people that want to really hone in and make the most money on the least amount of investment, if that makes sense. So invest based on your ROI. Ask yourself, 1, is this helping me close a sale? 2, is this increasing my team volume on LRPs? And therefore helping me get a new Power of 3 bonus or solidify a current Power of 3 bonus? 3, is it helping me hit a bonus or close a rank goal? And then later on, when you have more of an established, stable income and it's predictable and that level gets pretty consistent every month, later on, then you can start to ask yourself, who of my customers just needs a little appreciation? And you can take the money that you're making and buy them just like, hey, I know we keep talking about this book and I noticed you didn't buy it yet. I just want to purchase it for you and send it to you as a thank you for being my loyal customer. You can do those things, but I personally think you should wait until you have like a little bit of income coming in so you're not stretching yourself too thin. And then another idea that you can talk to your husband about or think about is keeping a separate account for your business. So I'm trying to remember when I first started doing this. It was probably 2 or 3 years ago, like probably right when I was trying to hit silver for the second time. Excuse me. It's really helpful for me to have our money separate. And here's how we do it. My doTERRA checks are automatically deposited into our doTERRA checking account. It's not a business account. It's just a normal checking account. I don't make that kind of money yet, so it doesn't qualify for like any special bells and whistles, but it's a separate account. And I figured out that I pretty much can make my business run on about $300 a month, usually, unless I'm like purchasing a training package or some essential life books or something. So we kind of make sure that I have my LRP covered and any incentives that we're planning for that month, and that's in the $300 budget. Anything extra, we just move over to our savings account. And sometimes we move it to checking if we need a little bit of extra padding in our checking account that month. So that's worked really well for me because it forces me to not spend more than I'm making. And that was just like an extra precaution I put in. I didn't want to spend our family grocery money on books that we actually couldn't afford. So that was kind of just what I did. Chelsea, do you want to add anything?
Sorry, I'm writing down notes and thoughts for my next section. So I don't want to miss anything. No, and actually I learned it from you to have that separate account for your business. I really don't have much to say. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to make sure.
No, you're fine.
Okay, so does anyone have questions? You can type in the chat box if you have questions about that. We can come back to it. And then do you want to talk about the New Builder basics?
Yes. So we're going to talk about like your steps to success and just navigating this whole thing. And yeah, you guys put your thoughts and chats in the comment box. We'd love your feedback, and we're going to offer time at the end for you guys to just really get out there, tell us what you're thinking, what's going on, and just check-ins and stuff. This is one of the most important things that you can do for your business when you're first starting. And this is something that will always be with you forever and ever and ever because it's going to grow. And if you haven't done one yet, do it because it's so powerful and it can seem a little daunting. My husband did insurance. It was the same thing he did. He was in sales. You make a names list. You sit down and it might not all come to you right away, but it will. But you sit down and you make a list of everybody that you know. Whether you think they will use oils or not, you just write their name on there. And we have a really great, document called Memory Jogger. And it has everything on there from like your nail tech, your daughter's cheerleading coach, just everybody in your life that you know. Your list is going to grow. And if you think about it at first, whether you're deciding to do one-on-ones or if you're jumping into a launch party, we'll talk about that kind of stuff later. This is going to be people like who were on your wedding invite list, who were on your baby announcement list. This is your Christmas card list. This is just everybody in your life that you know. Pardon me, I'm looking at my notes. So you have your list of friends, and we recommend, or friends and family, and don't recoil, but we recommend that this is a names list of about 100 people or more. And the average person does know about 250 people. And I'm telling you, like, it's kind of like writer's block. Like, once you get going, it'll just start flooding your brain. And it might not be in one instance, but it will happen over time. So I like to share with people that there, in my opinion, are a few categories in this list to really help you get started successfully, because I know it's so easy in the beginning just to run and tell everybody about oils and verbal diarrhea, and then you come back to like, oh, crap, you know? So what I do and what I advise my builders to do is you have your names list. We're going to break it up into a few categories. Category 1, I don't quite know what to call it, but these are just like lifelong friends and acquaintances. These are the people who came to your kid's graduation party. These are your parents' friends who were at your baptism. These are people who you just get a little something from them in the mail every Christmas. Just the people who are faithful to your life, who comment on your life posts on Facebook. So you might want to say at the top of your page, you know, yellow, closest people in my life. And maybe you have your names list of 127 people, and that brings it down to, you know, 32 people or 52 people that are just, you know, those, just that safe zone. Does everybody can you kind of think of like your safe zone of people to approach, those really, really close people? So maybe we could call that your safe zone. Your second category, as you're making your names list, we always want to have on our mind people that can do this business with us. So maybe take a blue highlighter and let your blue be your business category. So who are the people in your life, like Angela, that was so bold, my sister just coming to me and saying, I think you should do this with me. Just those people that really respect you, and maybe you're not afraid to talk to them and get a little bold in the beginning just to see what you can draw up from it. And then your third category for me is just kind of like your patience category. I have people that I've been talking to about oils for 2 years, 3 years, and sometimes they sign up and sometimes they don't. I have people who I've been wanting to do the business with them for a year or two, and they just come, oh my gosh, that freaked me out. My husband was pulling in the driveway, and I thought somebody was walking through my yard with a headlamp on. I live in the country, so it's just creepy when you're at home by yourself. So this is going to be just kind of like your patience list. Everybody else that's left over, like Cassie says, being a product of the product. I will be completely honest in telling you that everybody's watching you. They are watching your positivity with this. They're watching your Facebook posts. They will come out of the woodwork. And through discernment and through you, again, just letting yourself morph through this business and being a household journey for you guys, you'll know just when to hit it and ask that person, or when to reach out. I've got a builder, Vicky. I called her a year later. She's on here like, I know we briefly talked about this, but I really think you should do this with me. And it was just the right time to ask her. So I'm really passionate about efficiently dividing up that names list and being patient with it, because I'm telling you, you know, you're even taking care of your clients and stuff, you know, as much as you can. 8 or 9 months later, they've got some referrals for you. You're not gonna have to wait 8 or 9 months, but just be patient. That things happen. You're always nurturing. Be a face of the product, be a product of the product. And I think that's the best way that you can start. Your very first step is making a really, really great names list and using that memory jogger. Hang on, let me look at our notes here, Cassie. Sure, go ahead.
Do you want me to pull up the memory jogger really quick?
Yeah, let's talk about it for a few minutes.
Okay, let me open it. Okay. Oh shoot, hang on. There we go. Sorry, you guys, my screens are being funny. Let's just do this. Okay, can you guys all see it? Can you give me some thumbs up if you can see it? Yes, okay.
Cool. All right, so this is your names list. This is your address book. This is your Rolodex. This is everybody in your life. You might hear a lot of people say, I don't know anybody. I don't mean to be so bold, but that's not true. You know, we all know people. And we always say, put their name on that list, whether you think they will use oils or not. You know, our Angela and our grandma she's 85. She enrolled with my sister. You know, you might think like, oh, I don't know about that. Like, no, just have faith and just put them on the list and just be a product of the product and be an example. So we have a lot. Okay, I can't. I started scrolling. You can scroll. So there's no, it's okay. There's a lot of different categories on here. People to think about. You know, the doctor's office you go to, my sister has a builder. She just brought a little gift bag in there like, hey, thanks for taking care of us. She brought him a little fizzy water and a little sample of lemon just as a little gift. So just keep those people in mind, those people who are just in your sphere, because there are people there.
We'll provide that on the Facebook, like with all the extra documents too. So.
How's Awana? Good. This is Ivy. This is my partner in crime when it comes to doTERRA. She does vendor fairs with me. Yeah, you say hello. Hi. And another way that we talk about starting with you guys is go finish your kefir. Yeah. Is we help you figure out just whether you feel like a launch party or classes or one-on-ones are better for you. Is that where you'd like to head next, Cassie?
Yeah.
Okay. So a launch party is a really just fun way to get started. It's big, it's explosive. Sometimes it's out of people's comfort zones. But what we typically do is we would come and teach for you. Like I came and taught Cassie's first class. Like honestly, Cassie had a class, but if we had two sets of 3 groups of, or 2 or 3 balloons on our table and some music playing in the background, then we could have deemed it a launch party. It's just this big, beautiful, glorified class, and you're just pressing on, you know, invites, you know, asking your Aunt Carol, all right, you know, what are the names of the guests that you're going to bring? Can I count on you for a yes? You're being a little more assertive. You're really getting people there, and we are going to help you launch your business. You know, when they, like my sister says, they crack the champagne against the brick and get everything going. And those have really, really cool outcomes if you're diligent in getting people there. Some people think, you know, that's not my cup of tea. Could we just kind of reduce that to a class? Maybe no balloons, you know? All right, fine. We'll do a big class or however you want to start. I feel like a class is deemed of maybe like 3 people or more. Cassie, what would you call it, like a class?
Yeah, I would say 3 or more. If you have 2, that's probably a one-on-one and somebody brought a guest or a friend, you know?
And we have
Cassie.
Hi, Ivy.
Hi. And we have some scripts for helping you guys like invite people to classes and everything. And then there's the one-on-one. That's where you're just sitting with one person. Some people are really uncomfortable with that, and some people are more comfortable with that. Again, this is something that morphs, okay? I love all of it. I love launch parties. I love classes, and I love one-on-ones. I just love whatever will generate something, because I just love working with people. On the sales end, I'm that person that gets a high from a close. Whether it's my class or someone else's, I love to know, like, what was the number? Like, how much did we do? How much did we earn for you? It's just exciting to me. I don't know. So that's another thing that you can help identify with your upline. If that's not a step that you've taken yet to really just get the ball rolling, you know, you're going to help them identify what kind of leader you feel like you might be and just how you'd like to begin. And that's another thing that will morph. You know, you might start off with some one-on-ones and then have a desire for a class and realize, hey, it wasn't that bad. I'm not a public speaker, and now I'm all over Facebook and doing this and teaching classes with no problem. So again, you're always going to be adjusting.
Can I jump in really quick too?
Yes.
One of the things I love about doTERRA is it is so flexible, and we can, you can kind of cater it to who you are as a person. So I do have people, you know, if you're a more introverted person and one-on-ones work better for you, that's great. You can make money and build the business doing one-on-ones. One of my builders, Kate, did not like doing classes and did basically one-on-ones. She built herself to Premier purely through one-on-ones for the most part. But I love that you do have the flexibility as you're growing and as your schedule changes. Just like Chelsea said, your story can change and your situation can change. So I loved doing classes. I like the preparation for classes. I like having an outline. I like doing the invites and practicing and kind of perfecting things. And I love being in front of people and like engaging with them. But when I started working full time, I realized I can't take like 3 or 4 hours out of a night to do a class every single week. So that's why I loved Emerge, because I could do 20-minute, 30-minute appointments during my lunch break, or, you know, when I got home from work and put my kids to bed, or on my day off. So it's really nice to just have that flexibility. And one of the things we wanted to let you know too, if you're brand new and you want to like, if you're that earth shaker type of person, or even if you're that third level builder, it's great to kind of just build momentum by booking like 5 classes in a month if you can. So remember we said if a class is like 3 or 4 people minimum, then if you have 5 classes, the kind of thinking behind that is you probably will have one that will cancel. So that leaves you about 1 class per week. And that just really helps you build momentum. If you've been around for a little bit longer and you feel like you're kind of stalled or stuck, that might be a good goal for you to help you get unstuck. If you just set that goal, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to pick 4 or 5 dates on my calendar this month and book up those classes, that can really help you get unstuck.
And that's kind of what I like naturally did in the beginning. I didn't know it was called 30 Days to Elite. I didn't know it was called, you know, all these different trainings that we've seen. It just was a natural thing to me, for me, like, well, if I'm going to do this, I got to do this. So let's start telling some people about it. So yeah, get out your date book and just pick some options that you have. And that, Cassie, I feel like that's one of the most successful ways to really get it going.
Yeah.
Setting up that calendar and getting the momentum, being in communication with your family, you know, on kind of like what your needs might be for the month, because you know what your life is like. But I love that concept of just booking up your calendar right away, which a lot of you guys are doing, which is awesome.
And what's really good about that too is it's not forever. Like you don't have to do 5 classes a month every single month until eternity. You're doing this to build, like, get some momentum and get some customers and really build your foundation. And then it's gonna shift a little bit when you have a really good customer base.
Right. There's an amazing book called Go Pro by Eric Worre, EricWorre. You guys can pick it up on Amazon. It's like $9.89. I'm not really in a season. This is a little self-identification that you can do as you're going through doTERRA. I'm not really in a season where I can just sit down and read books. I'm more into podcasts and audiobooks right now. So don't put pressure on yourself, but if it's something you'd like to hear, get the audiobook. It's great. But he talks about, and I want to say this with all due respect for everybody's goals and how you're going to be moving through this and navigating this, but there's a little bit of a difference with network marketing and just speaking on other challenges in life. He recommends that the slow and steady don't win the race, because this is something where you want to see results. I needed to see that paycheck just to know that this works, and it just kept me going. If you're going to be on a weight loss program and you're not losing anything, it's not going to be very motivating. So I'm not saying go nuts and build fast and make yourself super uncomfortable and don't sleep at night. I'm just saying, like, develop the consistency that you can develop, because in network marketing, the slow and steady, I feel like they tend to not win the race. Cassie, can you help me articulate that maybe without sounding like, because I want to respect everybody's pathways and everybody's abilities, you know?
Yeah, I would just say it's kind of what I already said. Like you don't have to do this like 5 classes a month forever. It's not going to be a sprint forever. That's like doctors will tell you, runners can't sprint. They can't run at that speed for longer than a sprint. That's why it's called a sprint, right? And there's like a sprinter and a marathoner, their bodies, they train differently. So it's kind of the same thing with your business. You're going to kind of need to teach yourself to sprint during certain seasons, and then you can kind of pull back a little bit. So I don't know, is that helpful?
Yeah, I like that. Teaching yourself to sprint, just being diligent about like both abilities and knowing when to do that. Sorry if I just totally confused you guys. I just wanted to offer that with the momentum thing and growing. One thing that we tell everybody, don't forget your LRP so you can get paid. We tell everybody, like, even if you don't know what you want, just treat your cart like your Amazon cart. Just let it sit in there saved at 100 points or more. fast start commissions, those just beginning commissions that you're earning as you're sharing oils, and you've got a couple people below you talking about them. They run every Sunday night. Don't make this something where you're logging on every Sunday afternoon and editing it. Just save your LRP. Like we tell our clients, you can change the date. You know, you have complete control over it. You can change the date at any time. You can change your content. But that's something that we just want to get out there and make sure that everybody knows, to have your 100-point LRP saved so you get your paycheck.
Can I mention just one thing really quick? If there's a promo month, like especially during BOGO week, I know sometimes, like, I don't like to create a second LRP because then you actually have to call to cancel. Like, you can't cancel your LRP online, and I just don't like calling. Sorry, that's like a personal thing. But so if you do put in a smaller order on your LRP, don't forget to bump it back up to 100 after the week's over. I've done that before where, like, you know, with the convention kits that doTERRA puts out in the fall, I purchased it on my LRP, and the PV and dollar ratio was different. And so my LRP fell below 100. I didn't even think about it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I think Chelsea might've texted me and said, hey, don't forget to put your LRP up. I was like, shoot, I almost forgot, and I wouldn't have got paid. So just remember, like, keep in mind those weeks to just double check your LRP at the end of those promo weeks.
Yeah. If you have a second LRP. Yeah. Latoya's saying if you have a second LRP, you can delete that one. You can't delete the original one you've started. Yeah. She's as long as
you can delete it from your back office?
You can delete anything after one that's saved. Like,
thanks, LT. I didn't know that.
I'm calling you LT. All right. So there's this little, Cassie, do you mind screen sharing the 6 daily questions?
Sure.
This is just like guidance. You know, if you're like, what should I do today? What can I do to run my business? There's some few things that are just really great little details that you can follow. 6 daily questions. So this is like daily, weekly, and monthly actions. And you guys are all doing the monthly action right now, which is awesome. You're here. 6 daily questions. Who can I share oils with today? I need to get over to the post office in the next town and book a meeting with her because she's interested. Who has attended a class that I need to follow up with? There's these 1 through 6. There's typically always an answer to 3 or more of them, believe it or not. Who is enrolled that I can share the LRP with? Who is using oils that I can share the business with? Like number 3, if you have people that are like more often than not placing one-time orders that are above 50 points, tell them about LRP. And we're going to talk about LRP a little bit. I've got a graphic where I can show you guys that'll point you to some great trainings. It's an old training call. I think it still works. Who's building that I can support? If you've got someone on your team, there's always someone to support. What will I read, watch, or listen to that will help me grow? That is as easy as jumping on YouTube, typing in doTERRA compensation, doTERRA placements, doTERRA co-impact sourcing, doTERRA frankincense. You guys have seen my BOGO videos. You guys, I'm just all over YouTube. I pick out like 3 videos that I really like, and I'm just condensing information, changing wording, being like, oh, I had no idea about that. You know, I'm trying to make this like self-taught. 3 weekly actions, attending team calls, talking with my mentor and setting goals, and presenting to 2 to 5 people or one-on-ones. And then monthly attending team meetings or trainings. There's huge trainings with doTERRA. There's leadership, there's convention, there's weekly calls with Angela on Thursday evenings. There's this kind of stuff that we're going to do every 2 weeks. We try to just keep you guys just with something always right at your fingertips to go ahead and utilize. But this is something really basic that's so helpful. And especially the 6 daily questions, if you're just absorbing them, your business will grow. They're very, very helpful.
Yep. Sorry, save all for later.
You're fine. Some essentials to your business. I would highly recommend having the Zoom app. You guys all have it. Tell your teams. Marco Polo. Some of you are on that with Cassie and I. It is a riot, and it is what helped Cassie and I like survive as we were doing this whole thing, just back and forth. Oh my gosh, I thought my daughter was tooting. Seriously, I'm like, what's happening?
No, that was me.
Okay, just back and forth and back and forth. So Marco Polo is a great, just really quick snippet of communicating with your teams. I actually like it better than Facebook Messenger and better than texting. I feel like as a leader, I can present like my emotion behind what I'm asking better instead of like sounding like I'm nagging or micromanaging. I feel like Marco Polo has given me a lot of freedom. So that is an excellent app and it's free. If you guys don't have the Essential Life book yet, snag it. It's phenomenal. You can buy it in groups of 10 or more. And we want to keep this business really cost effective for you. But if you're so inclined, we're not affiliated. We don't get commission or anything. We're just recommending this. It sells oils. It just does. When you're sitting there with a Home Essentials kit and you are working on their follow-up order with them and you're able to hand them a 400-page book and showing them how to use it, you will more than likely have a customer for life. What I have done in the past to gain back my little investment on the book, I give it away for free with the Home Essentials kit or higher, and I charge $27 for it with anything lower than that if they want to just buy it from me.
Hey,
So,
can I jump in really quick?
yes.
We're going to talk more about the compensation plan in a different meeting, but just to help you understand why Chelsea said the Home Essentials kit or higher, here's why. If you're not sure yet about compensation, anytime you enroll someone, their first 60 days, you get 20% of any PV they order. So the Home Essentials kit is 220 PV. 20% of that is $44. So if you're making $44 off of a Home Essentials kit, therefore a $25 book, or if you buy them in bulk and get them at $15 a pop, you're still making profit. So that was, again, one of the things that why I enjoyed understanding the compensation plan, because I could weigh what can I offer as an incentive that's still leaving me some profit at the end. So my kind of rule, this is just my personal rule, you don't have to follow this, but my personal rule is I don't like to give away more than 50% of my commission unless it's like I'm going for a new rank, like gold, silver, and gold, you get some leadership bonuses. So if that's going to be the thing that puts me over the edge, I'm probably going to invest a little more. So we'll talk about that a little bit later, but I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, like, because the book, I mean, when they're broken down individually, they're like $15 to $17. So you're giving away 1/3 of your commission on a Home Essentials book or a Home Essentials kit, and you're still coming out ahead. Yeah, so those are available on oillife.com. Every year there's a new version. Yeah, I'm just reading the notes.
Mm-hmm.
Will you talk about this area? I feel like you're really diligent with finding your own people, and is that kind of what we're heading into?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I can talk about that.
Thank you.
So one of the things that we have learned is, actually, let me talk about it from a personal perspective.
Okay.
So when I first got started, I was like so excited and was like, you guys, before we had a merge, I would like call people and sell a kit over the phone, like oil sight on scene. I don't know what was going on. Like it didn't feel super hard for me. So I wasn't expecting Chelsea to build my business for me. However, Chelsea had goals of her own. So she placed my one builder, Kate, was originally Chelsea's enrollment. And Chelsea knew that if I hit a certain rank, that would help her hit her rank. So that's why she gifted me Kate, who was originally her enrollment. So what we want you to understand is this is like a teamwork business. So we all kind of work together and we're all a part of it together, but your upline might place some enrollments under you who are customers, or maybe even somebody who could be a sharer or a builder. And they're doing it because they trust you as a builder and they see something in you. So as uplines, we're not going to place somebody under you if we think you're going to like stop talking to us in 5 months. Does that make sense? So if your upline's placing volume under you, it's because they love you, they trust you, they want to work with you, and they want to help you. But from an upline perspective too, I totally just lost my train of thought. Okay, so your upline may be placing to help you and to reach their goals, but it's your responsibility to make sure that if you have a goal, you're working as if your upline wasn't going to help you to reach that goal. Does that make sense? I don't feel like I communicated that as clearly as I said it the other day.
Oh, no, but I like when you touch on that because I feel like you can articulate it way better than me. Pardon me. I want to get this big clump of hair out of my face. I don't know.
No, it's okay. I think another thing that's helpful for that too is just to communicate with your upline. We're going to talk about in a little bit upline kind of relationship etiquette, but it's just helpful to stay in communication with your upline and let them know what types of communication you like. So, and like what kind of a person you are. Do you like when somebody is like, you know, like Chelsea can be pretty straight up with me. She knows she's not going to hurt my feelings because I know her heart. I know that she's doing this business to provide income for her family. And I know that she cares about me as a person. So if she comes to me and says, hey, like what's going on with your LRP? I'm not thinking, why is she like micromanaging me? I'm thinking, oh shoot, what did happen with my LRP? I better go investigate. You know what I mean? So it's just a little bit of back and forth that you'll kind of get into a rhythm with your upline about, you know, just kind of the relationship that you have and how to foster that through even like some sticky situations.
Right. And that's, I feel like as uplines, like when we tell you guys like, yeah, let them know what your goals are, like be aware of your upline's goals too. My girls know, like, if stuff crumbles, like not we don't eat, Derek works, but we're doing this to get him home. And we want this to be our full-time gig, you know, in the future and years to come. So this is something that's super important to us. And I try to there's a lot that I stay on top of, and my girls know that. And thank you for affirming that, Cassie.
Yeah.
So, okay, the link to Angela's new builder meeting. Awesome. Do you want to move on to using your oils?
Yeah. So, okay. I just wanted to talk about this briefly because there was a point in my business where I actually suddenly realized, like, I was kind of thinking, what's wrong? Like, how come I don't have any people in my pipeline, right? We talk about one of the indicators of success is that you have like that list of names and that you're like kind of continually populating it. And I just realized, man, I feel like my pipeline's dried up. Like, what's going on? And I realized it's because I wasn't being diligent and using my oils at home. And so then I was like, oh, no wonder. The reason that I was able to share oils so successfully with people and not just help them, but also enroll them was because they could hear my excitement and passion when I talked about them. So I just wanted to talk about keep it fresh, like continue to use your oils at home. If you're excited and engaged, your prospects and your customers will be too. Samples, I wanted to touch on this just briefly. To be honest, samples are expensive. You have to buy, you know, the little teeny drams. It takes so much time to pop off the top and fill them and put the top back on and mail them to people. And they don't honestly yield much results because oils are something that like you have to work into your lifestyle to really start to see a result or a return on your investment for your health. So Chelsea and I just really don't believe samples are a great money investment, like I was talking about earlier. If you do samples and you've had success, you must be doing something right. So don't stop if you're having success, but I just personally felt like I was doing a lot of work and not getting any return on my investment for those. But what you can do is keep your oils on you, because what I've found is that is what leads to an appointment, and the appointment is where I get the enrollment. Mm-hmm. So what I've done is just keep, you guys, you should see my purse. It's kind of ridiculous. I have like 2 or 3 bags of oils in my purse at all times. Isn't that ridiculous?
No, it's
I've
awesome.
got like the little doTERRA clasp thing that was in the holiday catalog. I've got this like zipper pouch, and I've got this wallet that my mother-in-law gave me that's like just the right size for roller bottles and my beadlets. I don't know, because you know that whenever you're out somewhere, it's always the one that you need is the one you don't have. Has anyone else noticed that? So I just like have a lot of oils on me, but it's been helpful because if someone at work is like, oh man, I've got a headache, I'd be like, oh, here, why don't you want to try this? And then usually 10 minutes later, they're like, oh my gosh, that really worked. I'm like, yeah, it did, right? And so then that's a segue for me to be able to set an appointment with them.
Can I jump in?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you want to finish your thought? I don't want to cut you off and have you forget.
I was pretty much done with that part.
And that is a little bit of a meeting that we want to show you guys. My sister Angela did a new builder meeting, and when she has those instances with people, she writes them down. She's got a legal pad like gave Cheryl past tense, you know, check in on that. And the realness of this business, a lot of people are like, well, I don't want it to feel like work or this and that, but it is. This is sales. We're having sales conversations, but we have beautiful scripts that kind of make you feel like you're not doing one. I've got a new girl, Lisa, here. I've shown her the Emerge script. She's like, that is how I want to communicate with people. That is relatable. That's awesome. But this is an on-the-spot thing. It's striking while the iron's hot. So if you have that girlfriend that, is interested or showing some interest, we have like a 4-sentence little script you can use as opposed to just handing another sample and kind of wondering like what's going to happen. I have a sharer on the team. She is somebody that I used on Instagram. I did a little thing with allergies. I got to send her a little sample pack. I called it like an allergy study. It's the one time in 4 years that samples have produced results. And my sister calls them testers, not samples, but really this is person to person. It's might be uncomfortable, but it produces growth and it produces results.
Mm-hmm. So, along with that, learn the products so you can share them confidently, because like I said, if you're excited and engaged, your customers will be too. It can feel overwhelming, so don't feel overwhelmed at first. Focus on learning intensely how the top 10 oils can help your customers. Because if you can do that, you can sell the, family essentials and the home essentials. And really those 10 oils are so versatile. I remember in the beginning when I didn't have a whole lot of budget, those were the oils that I did use the most. And it was like, I felt like it was hard for me to try new oils because I was like, but shoot, I'm out of peppermint again and I need my peppermint. Mm-hmm. So it's okay to focus on just those top 10 for a while. And then just know that you can learn about the supplements and the skincare and everything else little by little. So don't feel overwhelmed or don't feel like you have to do a homework project and like learn every single detail about every single product right from the beginning.
Well, and you can piggyback off of your upline. I always tell people like, hey, if you only have, what do you need?
And your phone charger?
My phone is, you guys give me just 1 second. Yeah, do you want the charging cord? Or here, give me 1 second. Actually, I think I can still talk while I get this cord for Derek. Piggyback off of your upline, so if you don't have very many testimonies with peppermint, well, ask them if they have any. Check out Facebook groups. Just take what you need to until you have, sorry you guys, until you have your own arsenal, and don't worry about that. You have the freedom in the business to do that. And the oils collectively, the 10, they have over 600 uses. I mean, they can be used for everything.
We'll provide you with a link or a graphic for 150 ways to use the Home Essentials Kit. So it's basically 150 ways to use the top 10. So that's great for you to use them that way. And then also a great resource that you can send your customers. One thing Chelsea said too that I just want to mention, you can always search in the Facebook groups. So in the support groups online, if you just type in the search tab like peppermint or headache or something, you'll get like tons of responses back. So you can always check that too before you like ask a new question. And if you can't find it, then you can obviously post that. Okay. So I'm going to switch over. Is there anything else, Chelsea, you wanted to touch on for that?
No, just the link here. I'm anxious to get everybody that link because that's really helpful.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about upline relationship etiquette. And this is the part where I said how to get the most out of your relationship with your upline. And what I really want you to think about as I'm talking is what kind of team would you like to have? So who would your ideal builder be and how would they communicate with you? So the first thing is to communicate if anything out of the ordinary happens. So like I said, when my husband and Alex and I had that marital crisis, I told Chelsea right away. She was like one of my people at the time. I mean, she's still my person. But like I wanted her to know, hey, this has happened. I want you to know I'm still like, I'm not quitting doTERRA. I love this business, but I think, we might have to take some time to work on this. I might have less time for doTERRA than I've had in the past, but I just wanted to give you a heads up. I'm not falling off the face of the planet. I still am in. So, she then asked me like, well, are you sure? Do you really think you can like stick around? Like, and that was okay because she has a business to run too. And she's trying to take care. Just communicate to your upline where you're at, or if something happens in your life that you're like, I know this is probably going to slow me down. That's totally okay. It's really helpful if you tell us that, because then we're not texting you like, hey, remember you said you were going to have 3 enrollments? Your goal was 3 enrollments this month, and like it's the 30th and I haven't seen any, like, not that we would say it that way, but just to give you an example of like, if we're expecting one thing and we see something else, we're going to start telling ourselves stories about what's going on in your life. So it's just helpful if you're able to tell us that up front.
Yeah. And oh, sorry.
But,
I was just going to say, like, you don't have to divulge all the details. Like, it is none of our business. If you feel comfortable, Cassie and I have like a friendship, praying with each other, talking. There's intimacy there, but you don't have to divulge. And we are not your boss, like Cassie doesn't work for me, but we're partnering and we're walking next to each other, like we're one with this. So it does help. I'm wired. I'm very, driven and charged by verbal affirmation. So in this business for me, everybody's wired differently. I'm like a no news is bad news kind of person, so I do better. Like when I'm mentoring you and you're offering feedback and it just fills me up. It helps me to know like what to do next. Network marketing is a hard business to navigate with silence. This is not to say it's about us, but when you are saying like, I've got this, this, and this going on, in your upline's brain, they kind of start planning out, maybe I could push for platinum this month. Maybe I could push for premier this month. It's just, you kind of start planning and stuff. So just the communication helps so much because we all have our own agenda, but in the end, it all goes like this. Mm-hmm. But the communication is so pivotal with that. Just to remain fluid and consistent.
So I don't know if you guys heard that, but she said we don't work for our upline. Like I don't work for Chelsea, but I do work with her. And I know I'm aware of what her goals are. I've invited her to share them with me, and I don't feel pressure when she shares them with me. But I'm honestly motivated if she says, hey, this was a while ago, but when she was going for her 1,500, and that means I have to have my 250 bonus. And she was like, hey, I think I'm going to go for my 1,500. It was fun because it was like we were partnering together to both reach a new goal. So it's actually really fun when you think about it that way. And that's why she said it goes like this, because you're working together and you're both like benefiting. And so it's really, really can be really fun. Usually...
Sorry, I'm just letting everybody know in us, it's 9:07.
Okay, thank you. Mm-hmm. Usually your accountability partner in the business is your upline. So one way to bless your upline's business is just to initiate updates about your business without them having to ask. So like I don't know, maybe this is just me, but if I don't tell Chelsea by like the 5th of the month what my goals are or running my numbers and like what I'm expecting to do that month, I feel bad. I'm like, oh shoot, I'm behind. So I try to, in the first week of the month, give her like a quick just text update, like, hey, this is what we have going on this month. This is what I think is going to happen on our team. And that way, or if like something is challenging with my 250 that's going to affect her bonus, I'll say, hey, this person put their LRP down. I'm going to have to work through that. And then usually she'll say, okay, great. Let me know what you need from me. And then we'll just stay in communication on that topic throughout the month. We're a team and we're running businesses. So there is a good relational aspect, but like Chelsea said, we are running a business. So it's just helpful to keep that communication open. Do you want to talk any more about how you and I communicate that might be helpful?
No, I feel like we've driven it home. She's just always been, I just would call it considerate. She's just always been very considerate. And you flat out asked me like, hey, what are you, like, what do you want from me? Like what, like, cause I'm kind of ready to push too. So you'll just find those instances, you'll know it's just going to ebb and flow. But again, just the consistency and the communication is total key with this business.
Okay. We're almost done, you guys. So Chelsea's going to talk about goals really quickly.
Okay, so in the beginning, it's wise, like I said, with your names list, think of those people who could do the business with you, because the best that you can, it's great to find a couple people right off the bat. You might have a placeholder that's a little bit of varsity talk, but your mentor can kind of individually go into that with you. If you guys need a little power session with that for better understanding, we can help you with that as well. But we want to help you guys earn your $50 Power of 3 as fast as you can, because we want to help you get half of your oils paid for. Kind of the goal in the beginning is to get that 50 and get to elite as fast as possible. Again, in the beginning for me, kind of happened not naturally, but I just didn't know what it was called because, you know, none of us were seasoned with this business. But it is possible by booking up that calendar, creating that names list to make everything really efficient on like who's in what category, and doing those weekly calls with your mentor so they can help you navigate what your goals are. But Elite is so pivotal because it's what the bigger ranks are structured around. You're going to hear us say things like Diamond, Premier, Premier is executives, but Diamond, Platinum, Silver, and those ranks are all based around being elite, having elites. Elite is just kind of a cornerstone with doTERRA, and it's really, really neat to achieve it. That's $3,000 in sales. While it seems like a lot, it is very possible to do it by yourself. Many of you have. I have. Cassie has. It's awesome. But we want to help you earn that power of 3 as fast as possible. We want to help you get to elite as fast as possible. Kind of the beginning ranks, again, it's that momentum to get something going so you stay engaged and excited, you know. We say 3 to stay alive. I always say it wrong. Cassie, when you correct me now, I'm like, oh, I've actually put up posts where it's been posted backwards and nobody told me. They probably just laughed. 3 to stay alive and 5 to thrive. 28, 30, 31 days in a month, you know, leap year 29. This is a minimum of 3 people a month if you're really just staying consistent. And this is like, you think about, it's 1 person every 10 days. So you're going through your contacts. We're helping you navigate the appropriate scripts and helping you close 3 to 5 people a month. That doesn't always happen. People have their off months, and no one's going to come down on you, disparage you or anything. But that's just kind of like a rule of thumb, just like that 631 list. Here's just a good guideline, just to have it at the forefront of your mind. Like in the category of enrolling, what am I achieving? What do I want to achieve? Well, 3 is a really good number. I'm going to aim for that the best I can. The 4 things that should at least pay for your oils: your $50 power of 3. Fast starts from a few enrollments every month. That will make up the difference. Your $50 power of 3, and we'll go into what that is. Some of you have it. It's great. And selling a home essentials kit, that's $95. That's just a few action steps that month and you being consistent. And then setting an appointment. So we want to make sure to provide them with the Emerge scripts on the page as well. So we're going to be diligent in getting you guys all the documents that we talk about. Do you want to go over that part?
The how to set an appointment?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is pretty simple. If you guys have read the Emerge script, this won't be new to you. I want to leave time for questions too, but the more you use it, the easier it gets. So if you're like, oh, I'm nervous about scripts, it's not going to come out naturally, just keep practicing. Like I remember when Angela was probably like a Premier or a Silver, and she was like, I stand in front of my mirror, and when I'm doing my makeup, I practice my script. Like you can just work it in, or in the car, like talk to yourself if you don't want to be like. One time I was practicing for a class, and my kids were like, Mom, why are you talking to no one?
I do it in my car still. 4 years later, I still practice, and I still watch training videos on how to close just because I want it fresh.
Yeah. So, so we'll post the Emerge scripts, but basically what it is when you talk to somebody about oils, so let's use the example of a coworker who's used the head, the past tense roller ball for their headache or whatever. They're like, do you sell these? Yeah, I actually do share these, and we do have a family business. Oh, okay. And then I might ask something. Usually, honestly, they ask me like, well, how can I order this? Or how can I get some? It's usually them asking the question because I've given them an experience, right? So then I'll say, well, usually what I do is I set up a quick appointment to go over your health goals, a little about doTERRA, and some of our most popular kits. You don't have to buy anything, but if you do see something you like, then I will help you get the best price. My part usually takes about 20 or 30 minutes. How does that, are you open to that? I forget what the last question is, but
how does that sound?
Yeah, how does that sound? And so then they're usually like, sure, sounds great. So then we just look at our calendars and figure out when a good time is. And it's really that easy. So I've done it over Facebook Messenger. I've done it over text message. I've done it in person, over the phone. Like this script works no matter what medium you're using to communicate. So
yeah, that script is part of your Emerge scripts. And I have it in my binder. I'm a huge laminating nerd. Cassie can relate. That is page 4 of your scripts. And it's called Transition a Conversation to Scheduling an Appointment. I don't even pay attention to, great, I'm trying to get so many appointments. I don't like that. But those like 4 sentences talk about the word cornerstone and growing your business. It just takes, it's mindless. It's mindless. Facebook Messenger, email, anything, like she said, it's phenomenal. You will book an appointment using those 4 sentences. Get them in your back pocket. Cassie, can I touch on something really, really fast? If you have people who are speaking for you, like let's say your mom is just like feeding you referrals and so excited, get your mom to memorize it. Oh, no problem. Usually what my daughter Cheryl does is she books a quick appointment. Maybe the people who are in your life like that, kind of clue them in on like what your life looks like and what your schedule is. They might say, hey, I have an appointment Tuesday at 7 for you. That's a little life hack that I use with doTERRA if I have people kind of speaking for me. Hey, do you mind like memorizing these 4 sentences? Because this is really effective if you're really itching to feed me referrals. So I provide that for people. Because there are some people who don't want to do the business at all, but they love you.
Yes. This is true.
Awesome.
All right. We are done with our part. Do you guys have questions? If you do, you can unmute yourself.
Now let's open it up. Thank you for listening, and thank you for having faith in us, because we're really excited to dive in these next 2 months.
No questions? Think, guys. I like questions.
For feedback, confusion, anything that stuck out, does anybody want to talk about like what kind of builder they are, or kind of where they're at right now and where they're aiming to go this year?
I will. I'm not sure that I even totally know. I'm super new under Chelsea. And I think I'm a part-timer, maybe potentially moving towards earth moving, just because I'm having fun and I'm enjoying everything that we're doing, and you guys are doing an awesome job giving us the tools and everything else that we need in order to move forward. And I think there's less questions because you guys were really good at giving everything. Like, I'm looking back through my notes, I use a different color. I use the red to do questions, and there's not really any red. But so thank you guys.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Lisa is a new team member, and she just upgraded, so I will be kind of figuring out like what we're going to do with that. And she's kind of like she's another kind of exception to the rule. So I told you guys I had one person kind of start sharing with the samples and respond to that. Lisa is feedback from doTERRA. So every once in a while you get an orphan account, and I reached out to her, and sometimes I have luck with those and sometimes I don't. She's like the only one that's ever really gotten back to me. So that's just been a really cool ride, and she's just very receptive and very, very easy to work with. I love it.
Anything
She's
else?
new to our team.
Welcome. We're glad you're here. You're welcome, Danita.
What's the next step that you guys are going to take?
You're welcome, Latoya. Oh, whoops.
Did we mention homework, Cassie? Do we want to
I was just thinking we did not do that. You want to do that really quickly?
Yeah, we are gonna ask, like, just for some of your time over the next couple weeks, some homework just to stay accountable and keep this moving. So go for that, Cassie.
Okay, sorry, I'm trying to get the Facebook post all ready so that you guys have this info as soon as possible. Okay, so the things that we want to ask you to do for homework are things that will move your business ahead. So we don't want to give you extra work that's like, oh great, now I have to read this whole book and try to book appointments.
Yeah,
So what we would like you to do, if you don't already have your list of 100 people, we would love for you to use the memory jogger that we're going to post and make your list of at least 100 people. If you saw Chelsea has her binder, figure out what works best for you to like organize your doTERRA life. For me, electronic works best for me because I can access it no matter where I am. There you go, Katie. I like to have everything in my Google Drive, so I have my spreadsheets and everything, so I can always update it. So either do it on paper or do it on an electronic document. text your upline with which one of those ways that you want to participate in doTERRA so they can coach you in a way that's appropriate to your goals. We would love for you to book 3 appointments before the next time we meet. So in the next 2 weeks, you don't have to actually do the appointment in the next 2 weeks, but book 3 between now and 2 weeks from now. We would love if you could use your oils in a new way that you have not used them before. And then if you feel so inclined, when you're going through those 6 daily questions that Chelsea talked about, I'm going to post that on her team page. And if you're going through there and you want to share some of your answers, we think it'd be really fun to kind of engage with each other that way and encourage each other. I think if you find yourself asking those questions every day, you're going to see that your business is moving forward, and it's just going to be exciting for us all to be able to cheer you on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things you can do for homework. Shouldn't take a whole lot of time. What'd you say?
I was just going to rattle them off one after the other so they got it.
You want to say it one more time?
Yeah,
I can post it in the page too.
Yeah, your names list, talking to your upline about your goals. Go ahead and try to book 3 appointments using your oils in new ways and checking out and trying to utilize that 6-3-1. When we were doing 4 weeks with Shay and Danelle 3 years ago, it was amazing. There was a lot of engagement. We had people coming back to the next meeting like, can I tell you about what happened the other day? Like, yeah. So we love that from you guys. If you're feeling like you accomplished something or that you have a new understanding or you had your aha moment with the compensation plan, you can just go on YouTube and just study the compensation plan. It's awesome. But you know how feedback goes. We'd love to hear that from you. But the best, I would say, like that names list and the goals and booking your appointments. Go ahead and just dive in, you guys. You will accomplish what you hope to.
All righty.
Cool.
It is really fun. I hope you guys do some of these things and have like stories to tell next week, because that really was one of the most fun parts about like doing this all together and getting homework is you don't feel like you're doing it alone. You know that like, you know, you might be talking to a customer by yourself, but you know that like all of us are doing it together and it's just really fun. So I hope that you guys will enjoy.
Pardon me, I'm sorry. You might have people who couldn't come tonight and they're diving in next week and they're gonna be like, holy cow, like stuff happened, you know, so that'll be just cool for even new people who are able to come next week to hear just like what you guys accomplished. What an exciting.
And then in the meantime,
let's talk about the promotion really quick.
Okay, before we jump into that, just real quick, in the meantime, if you do have questions and you want to post them on Chelsea's team page, we'll probably use most of like Chelsea's team page for most of the questions, so we can answer them there. And then go ahead, Chelsea.
Okay, so this is a really neat promotion. When you enroll somebody with a 100-point order, so that's 35 and 100 points a la carte. The 35 has no PV. It's just entrance into the membership. 35 and 100-point a la carte, or a kit. Basically, all kits apply with that 100 PV. Your person you enroll will get 50 points for free product, and you will as well. We have a lot of people doing a little different strategy. Maybe people who have higher stakes in the game are forfeiting their 50 just to say the person gets 100 points. It's not something you can give them. You just keep your 50 and get them some product. But basically, it's the 50-50. So the person enrolls with a 100-point order. All kits apply, 35 or a la carte. They get 50 points, and so do you. Do we know when the 50 points get deposited? Is it like New Year, New You when the order ships?
I have not had time to look at the facts. Katie, okay. Do you know?
Anybody know?
Katie does.
Oh, at the beginning of May. Okay.
May 4th, they said.
Okay. And it's not with an LRP. This is just an enrollment order.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. So yeah, and we're going to be going through, we're going to talk about LRP follow-ups, helping you guys do that. But this is a really exciting time for you to build your stash as new leaders to get that 50 points and such. So think of those 3 people, hone in on your names list and consider 3 people that you can call with the appropriate Emerge script. Cassie, do we, even though we haven't gone over the scripts yet, so they can feel confident in moving forward with booking an appointment, do we maybe want to highlight just a couple things in the Emerge scripts that would help them be able to do that?
So what I was going to do is only share the appointment setting parts of the Emerge script. Is that okay?
Yeah, we definitely get the new builder one in there. Like, hey, I'm starting my business selling, wondering if you'd help me out. That's a great one that I wish I would have had in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then usually what I do is so pivotal to memorize. Oh, okay. Another piece of homework. I'm going to give you guys a sixth thing. Come back next week and have the usually what I do is memorized.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, let's see if anybody's willing to say that next week. I'm sorry, every other week. In 2 weeks, not next week. Thank you, Latoya. So you have 2 weeks to memorize usually what I do is. Come back knowing it. That will be awesome.
The other thing, do you want to talk about what we're going to do next week in lieu of one of these like training meetings, heavy content meetings?
Okay, so is it more like just accountability and questions and maybe coming back if they have some of this stuff done and just the check-in?
Yeah. So maybe what we'll do is do like a survey on the Facebook page. If you guys want to do a touch base next week, like, hey, I started doing all the homework and I have some questions, we can do a question and answer next week. What Chelsea and I would like to do is on the weeks that we don't have content for you, we could provide a question and answer session if it would be helpful. So it'd be kind of like Angela's Thursday night Zoom calls, but we would probably tag team so that, one of us is there and then the other one, we take turns. Does that sound like it would be helpful, or do you guys think that would be like overloaded? Does that make you feel overwhelmed?
Let us know, guys, so we kind of know how to manage our time those evenings.
Maybe a live? That's a good idea, Latoya.
Yeah, maybe we could just even limit it to like just 20 minutes. Hey, we're just hopping on. How's it going? Latoya, I like that idea. That's cool. How do you guys feel about that?
Yes? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Oh, 4.
Awesome. So homework, names list, talk to upline about goals, book 3 appointments, use your oils in new ways, 631, and come back memorizing that 4 sentence, usually what I do is.
All right. We love you guys. We hope this is helpful. We're so excited because there's so many good things going on all of your teams, and we're just pumped. We think this is going to be a great season for all of us as a team together.
Yeah.
It really will be. Like, if we all take this information and all move forward together, it's going to be amazing. Like, you're going to see new ranks break, and you're going to have new builders and all these customers, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, my business is awesome. It'll be so fun.
Saw with Shay and Danelle's. That's why we're like, we got to do that again. That was the most fruitful thing ever. So we're happy to serve you guys. Thank you for coming. We know it's late, and we're 3 minutes ahead of schedule. Yay!
All right. Thank you, ladies. Talk to you soon.
Okay, good night.